little bit of a shorter summer for you. How are you feeling getting geared up? Like we're here, rookie stuff. How are you feeling?
I'm ready and not ready.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fast. I started golfing, which
Like you started golfing this summer?
yeah, never golfed before.
Nice.
I'm horrible. And now I'm going to be worse because now hockey's back and I'm not going to golf for a while. But no, I mean, it was cool. We went to town to a couple of these games. Our rookies are not great. Yeah. Not surprising.
Well, yeah, so
up, like,
nature of the...
It's fine. But yeah, I guess I'm ready to be mad about preseason.
Yeah, I mean, that's
how awful
favorite,
it is.
Yeah,
right?
favorite pastime, being mad about preseason. Well, no, it's funny because one of the reasons when we were coming out here, I want to talk to you is because we've gone through like some shared experiences over the last couple of years. We were talking on the way up here. It's as awesome as it is to go through all of that. It is tough to get yourself geared up again.
Well, and the interesting thing to me is like, if it's hard for me, and like I know from the fan perspective, like they're kind of chomping at the bit, but they're also, I think everybody's also a little bit like, do we really want to start again? Because once we start, we're not the winners anymore.
Yeah.
Right? But like if it's hard for me and it was hard for you, and we did go through something similar, how hard is it for the players? How hard is it for the coaches? Like, I can't even imagine going to captain's skate today. Like, my God, we won yesterday.
We were just here.
What are we doing?
Yeah. Well, and for me, the part that was, the biggest with that wasn't even like the physical. It's like the emotional. That's such, like, even us in media, that you're not quite riding the emotional wave is hard. Like, it's emotionally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. And to your point, just like them being able to get back up for it is.
Well, and like, there's not going to be another moment like you had for at least 5 months.
Yeah.
Like we're at least that far away. Like it's not going to be the same. Opening night will be cool. That'll be
the
fun.
banner. Yeah, that'll be
banner.
Yeah.
Well, I took the other banners down. All right, I got to ask you this question.
Yep.
When the Avs won, they just put up a new banner. They didn't remove banners, right?
Well, they did temporarily. So actually, through all preseason, there was a bunch of banners missing, but they were shuffling them around. So you showed up on opening night, and all the banners were back, and there was a space where they were.
Did they just add like a new one in the same design?
Yep, it looks.
Because ours, they took them all down, and I'm like losing my mind over this. You can't raise a banner and then take a banner down.
Take them all down. I'd be willing to bet you that they're gonna reorganize them. I don't know.
They're new designs. That's what I'm saying.
They redesigned all of them.
Yeah. Now, I only had 3,
but still,
that's a lot for being a 5-year organization. But 6 years But then, now there's a new one. And don't get me wrong, the cup banner is going to be incredible.
Yeah, it's going to be
amazing.
Yeah,
but you can't put a banner up and then take it down.
No, that's interesting because that's the whole point of banners.
That's the point. It's immortal.
It's up there, and dude, it was so funny. That was the first thing all the Avs players talked about when the banner went up was it's up there forever.
Yeah.
Anytime I come here, whenever I come back here, it's up there forever.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
But I mean, and again, I want to make it clear. I've seen the new banners. I haven't seen the banner. I've seen the other banners.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They're better than the old banners that were up there. They're cooler. It's a different design. It's way better. I like it.
Yeah.
It's better. But you can't take a banner down.
I was going to say, start doing that going forward.
Then it would have looked weird. I know. It's lose-lose. I don't think they should ever put a banner up in the first place.
Oh, really? You're anti-banner?
I'm only cup banner.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was positive banner because after the first season, it's like, well, we got to have something.
Cool to
we
have
did
that.
This was pretty wild. But then, like, you win the Pacific or the Honda West on a technicality. Like, what are we hanging a banner for that? Like,
big sponsor.
What are we doing?
The Nashville Predators. Yeah.
Yeah, like, is it good to win the Pacific Division? Like, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, to have all that.
Like, that division's terrible. What do you, like, let's win something real. Then they did it, and now it's like, yeah, hang that one. Hell yeah.
See, it's funny because the Avs, when they get those other banners, they don't do ceremonies for them. They're just there.
Yeah, they did that. They did that
with Vegas.
They did that in the last time when they lost to Montreal.
Yeah,
they just all of a sudden there were a couple banners up there. You're like, hey, a new banner.
Not drawing any attention to this.
But at the same time, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's for the people who just need to make sure that their bosses are like, hey, by the way,
I did that. Yeah,
all of and now the good ones there, and now you're like,
looks great. Yeah. So you mentioned that the new banners look good. I love a lot of what this organization has done in the last 6 years to establish itself, right? Yeah. You had to non-traditional hockey market, all that stuff. From your experience kind of just being here, how have you seen the way the team, obviously you go down to the Strip, you can see how the team is being embraced, but how much of it is what they're doing and the way that they are, I guess, embracing the fans. Is that the right way to put it? Or
So,
you tell me?
Yeah, I mean, so like, it's a little bit of Big Bang type situation where like you have the team, it's the first team in the city. Everybody's pretty excited about it, but nobody really knows. We're supposed to be horrible for a little while.
Yep.
And we have like the worst tragedy, one of the worst tragedies in the past like decade happened 6 days before their first game or something.
Yeah.
Like the team embraces like the community building behind that.
Yep.
And then they didn't lose for like a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and that's not even that much of an exaggeration. Like it was August. I remember August 27th. It's my anniversary. They beat the Fs 7-0.
Yeah.
To go 8-1-0. They had lost one time in a month, and you're a new franchise,
Brand new.
And then you go to the final, and they've been to 4 conference finals in 6 years. They've now won the cup. Like, but that being said, they have taken every step of the way here and just knocked it out of the park with
100%.
things like the New Jersey is gold is like ridiculous. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Their pregame ceremony is outrageous. That's what it's supposed to be. Like they have done so many things right that their graphics and their jerseys and their logos and
the glow in the dark on the reverse retro.
Yeah, it's all just over the top ridiculous. It's like that's Vegas. And so as much as I do think it would have been a super powerful fan base, even if they had done none of it because of the fact that the situation made it so that they won.
Right.
The way they did it has made it so that you cannot walk down the street without seeing the Golden Knights logo. Yeah. Now. Like you can't do it. You drive on there's more plates that have Golden Knights logos than don't. Yeah.
Well, I mean, dude, from the second you walk into T-Mobile Arena, it's a Vegas show. You know, you have the showgirls, the drum line, like from the second that you go in.
Sensory overload.
So I remember watching thought it was the first game, the first home game that they had here right after all that happened. You could feel the emotion, the energy, not tension, but you could feel it all coming through the screen. You were at that first game.
Yeah, I was up in the press box. That's obviously the first home game we had done. First time we were there for preseason.
Right.
They did 58 seconds of silence for the 58 people that passed away. You don't realize how long 58 seconds is until you're in a building of 18,000 that are being silent for 58 seconds. It was powerful. And then Derek England has the speech. But then
I just got chills. I forgot about the
then like the puck drops. And now all of a sudden we're playing a game, and the game takes on an importance because it's like we can't lose after that.
Right.
They scored like a minute and a half into the game. It was 4-0 by pretty quickly. The famous words of William Karlsson's drunk speech: "We beat the shit out of Arizona."
Oh my God, yeah.
But so that was pretty wild. But yeah, it was one of those ones like you're in the building, like you're in. Like you can't. That's 18,000 diehard fans for life. Like right there. Like every single person. And that's how it was for 40 straight games into the playoffs, all the way to the Cup final. Like you couldn't have gone to a game that year and not come away thinking that's my team now.
Right. Well, and I mean, dude, it was all season, myself included. Everyone was just, oh, well, the wheels will fall off. They're riding the emotion. I think everyone thought that first home game was awesome, just incredible, and they deserved that, and blah, blah, blah. But everyone was just waiting for the wheels. Oh, well, they'll get into the playoffs, and they won't win a 7-game series. And it has always felt like the fans, like, kind of embraced, I mean, the whole Golden Misfits thing, but like that's just the energy that you get from them. And dude, and to your point, the organizations run with it.
Yeah, and a little bit of, in a way, that's kind of what Vegas is. Like, what do you mean you live in Vegas?
Yeah.
A lot of people like, where, like in Vidara? Like, no, I live out here. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of, and there is a little bit of that, like, why do you live it? Or a lot of people tell me, well, I could never live there. I'm like, well, you probably could. Like, it's a pretty awesome city. Like, I'm basically nothing wrong with it.
That's every player, anybody that I've talked to, within the league that has come out here, they're like, I love it.
It's great. I mean, there's really, it's not terribly expensive. It's super easy to get around. There's a million things to do, and that's not including being a hockey player. Right. If you're not a hockey player, that's one more thing to do. Oh, yeah, we have a hockey team. Yep. And now football and WNBA, and that team's ridiculous. So.
Yeah, the Aces.
They're unbelievable.
So I'm glad you brought that up because, you got the other Raiders now, the Aces. Sounds like the A's, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
this all starts with the Knights, though.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, none of this happens. Is that how you see it? None of this happens without the Knights, or do you think it would have happened?
I think eventually a team would have taken the plunge. A league would have decided to do it. But I think it accelerated things quite quickly. And I do think that there's something about the decision of it being hockey that I think really made it a lot better. If it were football, if it were basketball, if it were baseball, I think it would have been less of everyone diving in.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, football, certainly, like, it's real hard. I have a Buccaneer shirt on.
Right.
I'm cheering for the Raiders. What are you talking about?
So I came out here, it was actually in December of 19, so right before COVID and all that stuff. And I was talking to a Knights fan, and I said, "Oh, are you guys excited now you got the Raiders?" And they said, "Fuck no."
Yeah, whatever.
They were like, "I'm not. I grew up hating the Raiders."
Yeah, like
I'm not a Raiders fan.
and the Raiders are not exactly the most lovable franchise. Right. Like, the Golden Knights came in and they were everything that you can't not love the Golden Knights.
And those
unless you're a Sharps fan, maybe some Avs fans.
Yeah, I'll say, but even now,
they're all right.
The Avs fan, like we the Avs and the Knights. I'm hoping that this is the year we get a Western Conference final.
That would be awesome
between those two teams.
That series a couple of years ago was phenomenal.
It was outstanding.
Yeah.
But no, this Knights fan told me that, like, the Golden Knights are our team. These are our guys.
Yeah.
The Raiders aren't our guys. And I found that so fascinating because I assumed, NFL team, oh sweet, now we've got an NFL team.
Right.
I never took into account that there's people with biases and all that stuff. And the Golden Knights being hockey and expansion, it just feels like that's what's made this all work.
And they did a really good job of hammering that home.
Yeah.
Like, immediately. Their very first slogan was bold and gold. And it was that for, I don't know, 3 months or something. And then all of a sudden it changed to Vegas born.
Yeah.
And Vegas born is like the most brilliant marketing slogan it can be, because it's like exactly what they are, as well as also kind of a little bit of a dig at everyone else that moved here. Where it's like, yeah, we hear you, but this is a better way to do it. And I think everybody
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, everyone kind of hears that and is like, oh, yeah, that is what that is. And that's good. And then, then you have, like, people have kids and they're Vegas born, and now they're immediately a Golden Knights fan.
Wow.
So that slogan deserves a ton of credit.
Dude, totally. I had never thought about it that way. Like you said, relative to, like, the other teams and
leagues and everything. Like, all of the events that come here, every show that comes here, very little of it is from Vegas.
Wow.
The people are barely even from. I'm not. Most people are not, right? But that slogan kind of really encapsulated, like, what the team is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it really allowed people to jump on something right at the beginning and feel like they were a part of it from literally the first day.
Day one. Yeah, totally. No, that's a great point. Because I always thought Vegas born, like, wow, it's a great slogan. But when you really think about, kind of what we were talking about with your name, Sinbin, the layers to it, it's outstanding.
I think it's better than my site's name. I'll give them that, but we'll take some.
Yeah, but the layers are what you're looking for.
Pretty good.
Bill Foley said around that time, Cup in 6. Did you think there was any chance?
Honestly, kind of, yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Did I think it was going to happen literally in year 6?
Yeah.
Probably not. But this is one of the first things I did when I first started the site, was I'm like, all right, I got to figure out who this is. Who is Bill Foley? Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and you learn who Bill Foley is, and you get to the point where you're like, yeah, if he says something, I'm probably going to believe it.
You're going to do it.
Like, it's unbelievable. His career path and how he got to where he got to, it's out of this world. Like, if you ever have a chance, go down the rabbit hole of who is Bill Foley and where his wealth comes from. And, oh boy.
Yeah.
Do not take that guy lightly.
So you did all of that, and you were like, well.
You're like, okay, this guy started Fidelity himself. Like, yeah, he could probably win a Stanley Cup in 6 years. Like, that doesn't seem that crazy to me.
Well, and what I liked about it, and again, people criticized them, and they ended up with the last laugh. But so they had the miracle run that first year where they really did. They outperformed that roster.
100%.
But they decided right then and there, cool, we're going for it.
Yep.
We're going for it then.
Yeah.
And again, I do think that's a philosophy that I've kind of picked up, that the Avs organization is there's no, you can do all the great marketing and jerseys. There's no substitution for winning.
Yeah.
And as much as Vegas has done all the stuff that we talked about earlier that I
gotta win.
Really like, you got to win.
Yep.
You've got to be relevant. And they decided right then and there, we're going for it. And, you mentioned earlier the prospects aren't that great. The Avs prospects, again, I don't know. But that's the nature of competing for championships. That's the trade-off. The rookie and the prospect stuff isn't really for you. It's about the championships, and I feel like Vegas has been in that mindset for 6 years now.
And eventually it will probably catch up to the Golden Knights. It will probably catch up to the Avs. It certainly did for the Kings and the Chicago, and it's kind of
San Jose without a Stanley Cup.
San Jose, it's kind of seemingly happening to Pittsburgh a little bit as they get there. So like it probably will catch up, but that window that you're in, and especially here, the amount of fans that are built through that window should allow you to get through the window where you do have to rebuild. Yeah. Where I don't know that that's necessarily the case. That certainly didn't happen in Atlanta. That certainly didn't happen in a lot of these other places where I think they are going to be able to handle it. So Colorado certainly was able to handle it from their best run to kind of down to back up to the next run. Everyone's like, oh, let me get back in on this. Yeah. I think that's goes a long way, and that's something that the NHL really did a good job to figure out. Like, wait a minute, what if we make expansion teams not suck? Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, I get why people have an issue with the rules if you're not Vegas or Seattle, but it's important. And, you mentioned, the Avs kind of being able to persevere through a decade of attempted rebuilds before they finally actually did. That was one of my favorite parts at Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, the amount of vintage Avs jerseys that were in the building that are like, it's cool. These are the folks that hung in there for the last decade. Yeah. So I actually made the argument recently, Ken, that I am half convinced that VGK may be one of the organizations that can fight off the real ebbs and flows. There's just so much to like about the market, the way the team runs, the front office is aggressive, and now they've got a winning pedigree. Like they've shown there's no such thing as a bad contract in Vegas. They'll get out of it. They'll move it. They'll find a way to work around it.
I mean, it's going to catch up to a degree. Yeah. It's already caught up a little bit, and you could kind of see it in their roster last year where it's like, well, what happens if one of these defensemen gets hurt? It's like, it's not going to look so good. Yeah. They did something last year that not many teams have done in the history of hockey, really, which is win without a legitimate high-end goaltender. Yeah. And so to be able to basically have like $3 million in goalies on your roster, like that's a way to do it, where if that didn't work out, we're having a little bit of a different conversation. So this like borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, or is it backwards? I don't know, whatever. This selling off these contracts and buying all the cap space, like, it definitely has kept them in a good place through this time. Obviously it's a huge reason why they won the Stanley Cup, but there's going to inevitably be some sort of ebb to the ebbs and flows, right? Nooks and crannies. They're going to go into the cranny. Which is the down? The cranny or is it the nook?
I think the nook. Yeah, I think
nook. The nook is in the corner. Yeah, I have a nook in my house. You want a nook? Yeah. Really? But so I think eventually, they're going to go through the cranny or the nook. And I do think it is going to catch up. Yeah. But you're right in the fact that it's like, okay, now we have some cap space. The Golden Knights will always have the ability that it's like, all right, who's the best free agent? We'll take him.
Yeah, we'll get him. Yeah. Or we'll go after him.
They shouldn't go through 10 years of down. Yeah. They may go through 2 where then you miss on a contract, you miss on some player, whatever. That can be a problem, but it shouldn't be a terrible bottoming out. Right. That I think Vegas is certainly a huge draw in that. Tax is a huge deal until they fix that.
It's huge.
And hopefully they don't. From the Golden Knights' perspective, hopefully they never fix that problem.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that, competitive advantage.
It's massive.
It's massive.
And it's completely unfair. But hey, that's where the team decided to come here. They decided, there was a good decision from Bill Foley that's kind of a loophole.
Yeah. Also, Bill Foley put up the money that, hey, that's one of the perks that we get when you're willing to put up $500 million.
Well, Seattle doesn't really get, it's very expensive to live there. My brother lives there. One a nightmare. Yeah. And it rains.
Rains all the time.
We don't have that. We don't get that.
Dude, we got more rain in Colorado this summer than they got in Seattle. I don't know what happened. It flipped this summer.
We had there was a hurricane. I was actually out of town. We were supposed to get a hurricane.
What?
They were giving out sandbags. It was a whole thing, and then it didn't happen. It rained like half an inch. We're like, oh, hey, Lake Mead's full.
Look out.
Nailed it.
Cup hangover is always something that people talk about and all that. I'm not a big believer in that. I think it is a lot of not like we think it's going to be easy, but I think it's a lot of what we talked about earlier, that trying to jump right back into it. And again, we had guys from the Avs tell us last year, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to get. You were just playing for your life. You were playing the most high-intensity hockey you've ever played in your life for the Stanley Cup. It's hard to get up for Wednesday night against an Eastern Conference opponent.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of feel for how this might go this year for Vegas?
I think they're going to experience it like everybody, but I also think there's the way an NHL season goes, that typically happens to most teams. There aren't that many teams that rip off never losing 2, 3, 4 games in a row off the course of an entire season. So I think it's going to happen. I'm interested to see the coach.
Yep.
So Cassidy is a very hard-nosed, do it right, all of that type of a thing. And I don't know what's going to happen for him. Because when he came in, it was like, I want my name on the cup.
Yes.
I'm here to get my name on the cup. Everything that comes with it is going to be awesome. I'm here for that. Well, now you did it.
Yep.
Now, is he losing his mind about a back check on a Wednesday afternoon?
Right.
Same way that he did last year. I don't know.
Is that fire still there?
I would imagine a couple losses will probably get him back to that point. But maybe not. I don't know. And then how receptive are the players? Last year, they were coming off missing the playoffs. So you have a coach freaking out on you. It's like, he's probably right. If we don't correct this, that's going to happen again. We can't have this. Where now it's like, relax, coach.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. We'll just win 16 out of 20 in the playoffs.
Right. With whoever you want back there in net.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, that didn't matter.
Right.
So we'll see. I do think health is a huge part of it for this team. They're not a terribly deep team beyond the players that play. They are deep in the 18 skaters that play. It's a deep lineup.
Yeah.
18 skaters that play.
They're tough to roll against.
Beyond that, it gets real narrow and real fast. So if they were to lose somebody towards the top, it can really all of a sudden look like a much different team. And you're like, well, why are the Golden Knights not trying anymore? It's like, no, actually, Riley Smith matters. William Karlsson matters. Alex Pietrangelo matters. And they did not lose anybody over that cup run.
Mm-hmm.
Massive.
Yeah. I mean, that was what the Avs ran into last year. They just ran out of bodies. Yeah. They ran out of steam. And I was talking with someone over the summer. I don't know if you watched that Game 7 against Seattle. Oh, yeah. They had a goal called back. I had someone tell me, they said that was it. That was it for them. That everyone on the bench was like, okay, if that's what the universe is telling us. Yep. Okay.
Well, and then the motivation, it's not the same. Like you played to become immortal.
Right.
Well, what's the point of immortality? Is that you did it. Now you can't be taken away. That's what every player says. Yeah. This cannot be taken away. Forever. Well, then what does the second one do? Yeah. It's not the same. They want it. They all want it. It's not the same.
It's about, and there was a lot of those question marks leading into camp last year. And I give Nathan McKinnon a huge amount of credit because I felt like he was someone, he actually even had a quote where he was like, I thought I'd feel more satisfied than I do, which again, like that's the stuff that you want to hear, him saying like, I want more. And I think that's partially because he compares himself to Crosby so much. And he's like, well, if I don't have 3, I'm not as good. Yeah. But to your point, like that's a unique quality in someone. It is, you do wonder about like, okay, how do you get yourself up for this one? Vegas, you had the chip on your shoulder last year. Everyone said that you were done. You missed the playoffs. So you proved everyone wrong. Now what are you going to prove to everybody?
And it's like, I'm trying to get my motivation going again.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm at the rookie games, and I'm like, man, this is not the same atmosphere that I'm used to from June. Like, it's tough, but I think over the course of time, everyone's going to get there. Mark Stone's a unique character. Totally. He's probably closer to McKinnon than anybody else, where it's like this guy, he wants 9 of these, and he's only going to play for 6 more years.
Yeah.
He's not going to be satisfied. So satisfaction is an interest. I'm going to use that for players when we get them back. Like, I'm interested that, was it as satisfying as you thought?
Yeah, he was talking, I wasn't as satisfied as I thought. He was like, I thought I would get to the offseason, like, oh, here I am, Cup champ. And he was like, I didn't feel like I'm, oh my gosh, this is who I am. And he's like, I want more.
That's cool.
So satisfaction. Last one for you here, Ken. Again, I mean, really, I love coming out here for hockey events. I've been to a few big kind of league events now, the All-Star game last year and stuff like that. I love the way, as much as the organization does all that stuff, I love the way the fan base has embraced the team. And again, I think non-traditional markets are the most important markets in the NHL. Yeah, everyone in Toronto is going to watch the Leafs. Everyone in Montreal is going to watch the Canadiens. You need these types of markets to grow the game and push the game forward. what can you say just about the fan base and the way that they've kind of taken to, even sites and content like yours, where it's like, I'm all Vegas Golden Knights and people can't get enough of it.
It's different here, I think. And then, like, I think non-traditional markets often get a bad rap because it's like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. And in many ways, yeah, that is kind of true. Like, no, the Golden Knights fans may not be as educated as hockey as Toronto fans.
Right.
But that does not mean they love their team any less.
Any less passionate.
Any less passionate. Right. They're not. They just show it in a different way.
Yeah.
And non-traditional markets, in many ways, they actually care more about their team than they do about the sport. That's one weird thing about Vegas.
Wow.
They love the Golden Knights more than they love hockey. That's not necessarily the case in Toronto, Montreal, a lot of the Canadian cities, a lot of Detroit's a good example. We're like, yes, they love their team. This fan base loves the Golden Knights more than they love the sport of hockey, but over time, the kids will not be like that. They will grow up loving the game because they get to play.
Yep.
I'm not going to go out and play. Like, what are you, nuts? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
You want to blow an MCL?
Yeah, like all of it. I'm not doing that. So like I'm younger than a lot of the people that are in the fame. You're not going to start playing. You just love the team. You love what it is. But the people you pass it down to, they are. And that's how this sport becomes what it needs to become. And the good news for us is that the NFL is eventually going to run into the problem of like, hey, all of these guys keep having head injuries. Yeah. Eventually, we're going to catch up. There's going to be a place for hockey to take over. The more markets like this that are like, we love it, the better off the sport's going to be. And I think that the non-traditional markets have to really band together to say, like, look, we're all making this better for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let all the, Bostons get mad at us.
I almost even feel bad for, saying non-traditional market because they've led the league in attendance for 6 years.
Well, but I mean, it is like it's 110 degrees the day they won the Stanley Cup final. Like that is non-traditional. Like it is, but it's new. There's not a ton of people that play hockey out here yet. It's way better than it was.
Totally.
And that is the step. When we get to 20 years from now and the kid that grew up in Vegas is now the second overall pick, that's what we need. Like that pushes the sport forward.
Yeah.
And I think Vegas done a hell of a job. And again, huge tip of the cap, stick tap, whatever you want to call it, to the NHL to say, like, let's make them better than we've ever made a team before. They didn't mean to make them this good. And shout out to the Golden Knights for taking full advantage of it and just running with it.
Yeah.
Way better than anyone else has ever done before and probably ever will do in the future. But
100%.
It definitely made a huge difference. Winning matters, and the Golden Knights never stopped winning.
Yeah. Don't do that. It's 100% true. Ken, I always have an absolute blast chatting with you, man. And we'll be back out here for more stuff, and we'll have to get together.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.